Hi and welcome to the video on the product rule, which is exercise 5.8 in your textbooks. So this is looking at calculus, again obviously, and we're looking at when you've got two functions multiplied with one another, how you can get the derivative of that, okay? And we can, which is very exciting. So two functions are multiplied together. For example, you've got h of x equals g of x times f of x. Or, an example that I'll show you a little bit later will be x times sine x. Okay, that's one function, x, multiplied by another function, sine x. We can actually get the derivative of this using the product rule, because product means two things multiplied together. I'll show you three different ways to remember this. I don't care how you remember it, I don't care how you do it, as long as you can actually do it in the end. So this is one way, the left-hand side box. So h of x equals g of x times f of x. The derivative of h of x will then be g of x times f dash of x, f dash meaning the derivative, plus f of x times g dash x. Okay? So g of x multiplied by f dash x plus f of x multiplied by g dash x. Or another way of looking at it is if you've got u and v, so g of x is u and v is f of x. So again, I guess you could have x sine x, where u is x and sine x is v. It's the derivative is u multiplied by dv dx plus v multiplied by du dx, where u and v are functions of x. Okay. Or, as this is the way I learnt it, back at school. The way I learnt it was the product rule. The rule for that is it's the first times the diff of the second, plus the second times the diff of the first. So, for example, the first g of x multiplied by the diff of the second, which is f of x, plus the second f of x multiplied by the diff of the first, g dash x. I don't care how you learn it, I don't care how you remember it, I don't care what happens as long as you're able to do it. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of examples, and I think I do a variety of methods just to sort of show you can actually do a number of ways. So the first example I've got is x sine x, and I'm going to call one of them u and one of them v. So this x is u and this sine x is v. So I get u equals x and v equals sine x. And I do du dx, and I do dv dx, and now I need to put it in my my formula of u multiplied by dv dx. This is this formula up in the top of your screen. I don't know if I can get both of those on the screen at the same time. It's a bit tricky. But u times dv dx plus v times du dx, or the first times the diff of the second plus the second times the diff of the first. Okay, so having all of these things written down is really helpful, because then you can just read them off. So u is, I'll push it down a little bit, u is actually just x, and then dv dx is cos x. So if you've got them all written down, it's really helpful. You can just read them off, plus v, which is sine x, multiplied by du dx, which is just 1. So eventually my answer is just x sine x plus, x cos x plus sine x. Okay, now I'll have a look at my next one. E to the power of 2x multiplied by log e of 3x plus 1. Okay, again, I'm going to use u's and v's, but you could use any of the methods that I've showed you before. They're actually all the same thing, it's just in different ways. So u equals e to the 2x, and v equals natural log of 3x plus 1. And then I'm going to write down du dx and dv dx, because I think this is quite helpful. So du dx, you have to go back to remembering how to do the diff of an exponential function. That just becomes 2e to the 2x, because we multiply the constant up here. We get the derivative and multiply it out the front. And this one becomes the diff of the bracket divided by the actual bracket itself. And then we just use our product rule formula, which is the first times the diff of the second plus the second times the diff of the first, which ends up being that. And I'll just tidy that up just a little bit. I'll make that a bit nicer. So that's 3e to the 2x over 3x plus 1 plus to e to the 2x multiplied by a natural log of 3x plus 1. Okay, so again, I don't mind how you learn how to do the product rule, but essentially the way that I learned it was the first times the diff of the second plus the second times the diff of the first. And hopefully you're able to do all of that. If in doubt, always write down these things here, because that way you can just read them off and it becomes fairly straightforward. Okay. The next video that we'll be watching will be the quotient rule, which is a similar kind of thing to the product rule, just a little bit different. Anyway, thanks for watching.